Good afternoon and good evening. Welcome back to the Next Generation Hospitality event by Agilysys. Today's session is going to be on hospitality for enterprise and management companies. This is our last session. My name is Thor Hansen. I'm a Senior Director of Sales Engineering. And I'm going to, we're going to take you through from the hospitality and enterprise management companies. One of the things that we're going to be providing for you in this presentation is our guest stay. This will allow for you to manage multiple properties, centralized profiles, as well as reporting and security. I'm going to hand this off to my colleague and good friend, Firas Baka, Director of Product Management. Biz, take it away.
Thank you, Thor. Just Thor, quick housekeeping on my part. My video is failing to start. So it says the host has paused it. So if you can start that for me, I'll appreciate it. And I'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for the introductions. I'm excited to be presenting to you here today. And I'm going to start by just quickly going over the Agilysys next generation product suite that is anchored by our three distinct property management systems: Agilysys LMS, Agilysys Visual One, and Agilysys Stay. Alongside our modernized InfoGenesis point of sale solution, which now natively supports Android and iOS. As you can see, we've developed a comprehensive suite of cloud-native or on-premise solutions that enable you to manage your operations and provide a modern, customer-centric guest experience. Today, we'll be discussing how our suite of solutions, backed by Agilysys, is built to scale for the unique nature of your enterprise and how you can leverage our solutions to deliver powerful guest experiences globally in a secure manner across a multitude of deployment options. We'll begin by talking about our global solutions presence and how our architecture is built to grow with your enterprise. We'll talk about our collaborative partnership model, which provides you with an active voice into our roadmaps and designs. We'll talk about our extensible integrations platform and how it can be leveraged by Agilysys solutions, partner providers, and custom tools powered for your enterprise. We'll go into data privacy and how the powerful tools built into the applications automate data privacy. We'll talk about information security and how Agilysys security and engineering teams collaborate to ensure a secure platform for your enterprise and your guests. And we'll round out with analytics and reporting and how our built-for-purpose architecture empower your teams with powerful cross-property reporting options. And we'll round out actually with a demo of our powerful enterprise property management system solution and analytics solution. Starting off, let's begin with talking about Agilysys' background in hospitality systems and our history of delivering global enterprise solutions, targeting a broad cross-section of segments within the hospitality industry. Agilysys solutions are present in 78 countries, support members spanning 12 global offices and multiple regional fiscal partners. Our data centers are powered by Microsoft's extensive Azure cloud network with extensive failover protection to ensure resiliency and uptime for our cloud solutions. And our solutions automatically scale to power performance for customers ranging from independent hotels and boutique hotel groups, major destination resorts and casinos, nationwide and global enterprise chains. But we recognize that our enterprise customers can have unique deployment needs, which means that our solutions are architected to provide flexibility in deployment models, be it Agilysys data centers backed by Microsoft Azure, private cloud options, on-premise hosting options, or a mix thereof, all within the same enterprise. Agilysys solutions are built on the backbone of our enterprise experience, ensuring optimal performance from the smallest boutique hotels to major destination resorts, casinos, and chains. And I believe now I'm here on the video side of things. So next we'll talk about our collaborative partnerships. The next key piece of our enterprise software philosophy is how do we partner with our customers to ensure that features are designed to address their core business needs. We recognize that our enterprise clients are customers with boots on the ground every day, serving team members across the organization and their guests, and that there's no better source for feedback. So our release cycle is structured to execute on this. From the beginning, we provide an opportunity for our customers to partner on requirements and design, and this is particularly important for more complex features, for example, advanced rate or revenue management type features, or operations-focused interactions that impact the guest experience, such as check-in, check-out, and folio management. Once each feature is developed, it is provided to customers in a dedicated preview environment, and this is an opportunity for you to see new features prior to their full release. We know that feedback when reviewing wireframes or mocks can never replace a real hands-on feedback, and that's why we provide this preview opportunity for you to channel that feedback before the feature ever hits production. That feedback can either be actioned directly in a preview environment, particularly if there's design adjustments, or channeled into a next or subsequent release. And once the feature is ready for rollout, it is moved into production. And once again, here as an enterprise customer, you have the choice when to turn it on. This ensures you have sufficient time to prepare your team members for the rollout of major new features and update any enterprise SOPs you may have to incorporate those new features into your operating procedures. And once it is turned on, you have the opportunity to provide further feedback from your broader set of operational teams, which again can be channeled with your account managers into a preview or beta release. A strong integrations platform is essential for a strong enterprise hospitality architecture. Any break in communication between your systems, we recognize can materially impact your operations and in many cases your revenue. And we recognize the importance of a resilient integrations platform at Agilysys to not only power delivery of messaging between systems, but also to ensure recovery is automated and seamless in the event of any loss in connectivity. The integrations platform is also the backbone of extensibility, be it with Agilysys' wide network of industry partnerships or your own custom enterprise solutions. As such, we provide a rich API suite to power guest and staff interaction, providing flexibility for your enterprise to build your own solutions or expand your partnerships. The secret to the integrations platform is the dedicated API gateway powered by real-time events. So what does this mean? It means that as your operational teams are operating our systems, almost any event that has a business impact can be recognized and communicated through our API layers. In a property management system example, that's check-ins, check-out, room moves as traditional examples, but we also support changes to configuration, date roll notification, maintenance items, room assignments, amongst many others. And all the ecosystem products within Agilysys, be it Agilysys Spa, Agilysys Golf, Agilysys Engage for Loyalty, and many more, are also interacting with these same events and APIs, which means that the functionality we built to connect our own products can also be made available to you and partners to power those same rich interactions. And you can consume those APIs directly, or we can build adapters to translate Agilysys messaging into a format partners or your custom applications will understand. Another key aspect of this architecture is that it allows us to build and then deliver new integrations without ever touching the core system, as the hard work of events is already done. And building new adapters can be done outside of the PMS. So if, for example, integration to a new CRM or a PBX is requested, and even though we're a cloud system, we can build and deliver that integration with minimal or in many cases no impact on the property management system at all. Agilysys solutions are architected to provide for flexible data privacy tailored to the regional requirements of your enterprise. We recognize that data privacy concerns are paramount to many of today's modern travelers, and we also recognize that the regulatory landscape around data privacy is evolving by region. So as such, Agilysys State and our products' data privacy tools are inherently customizable. You can set up policies at two levels. You can set up data retention policies that allow you to prescribe at the individual field level how long to retain individual guest information after their last visit. And you can also set up guest consent policies, which work in conjunction with retention policies to allow you to override retention periods for individual guests subject to their explicit consent. So let's illustrate with an example of what's possible using these tools. A property in California caters to diverse international clientele. But in this case, the retention policy may differ based on the type of guest. A US guest would have a policy assigned that meets retention guidelines for hotels in California, such as the CCPA, whereas in the same hotel, a resident of the European Union may have a retention policies that meets the defined guidelines of GDPR. And the more restrictive of the two will be applied at the individual field level. Now, taking this a step further is the ability for the PMS to recognize those consent policies, wherein the guest specifically opts in to allow retention of all or just a portion of their data for a more extended period of time. So in this case over here, our US guest has opted into the rewards program, and in doing so, they provide consent to retain their information for an extended period in compliance with the specific rules and acceptance policies of your program. Next, we'll touch on information security. The rapid growth and utilization of cloud-connected solution continues to strengthen the need for strong information security practices to protect against any attacks, be they in an on-premise environment hosted by your customers or Agilysys has the resources to invest heavily in information security, and as such, we have a dedicated information security team that works with our engineering, quality assurance, and product team members, amongst many others, to ensure every release of our solution suite meets the highest standards of security. And this includes subjection to regular design reviews, code analysis and auditing, penetration testing both internally and externally, vulnerability testing at multiple levels, and web application security testing. This ensures that Agilysys solutions not only meet now standard requirements for PCI DSS type compliance, but also rigorous SO2C compliancy standards that ensure that organization controls or practices are in effect to securely store your data and those of your guests, no matter your deployment model. And this also means that all of our employees, from support through to the executive team, undergo regular security training and testing. Enterprise reporting is an incredibly powerful component to any solution suite. So next, we'll talk about our approach to reporting architecture and how this can empower operational teams with easy to use, efficient, customizable, and automated reporting. We're actually going to demo some of this later on, while providing extensive connectivity options that can power advanced analytics at cross-property, regional, or brand level. We're going to use the example of Agilysys Stay Enterprise PMS and talk about fundamental architecture here and some of the challenges we were looking to solve as part of this architecture, which is extended across our ecosystem. Challenge number one, how do we deliver cross-property enterprise-grade performance? Well, we've built a purpose-built reporting database available as part of this solution that is completely separate from the operational database. This means that your reporting is incredibly fast to run, as the reporting data is normalized and constantly being aggregated to ensure that it's available without expensive and time-consuming operations to crunch numbers. Multi-property, year-long reportings can be delivered in a matter of seconds, and it also means that while this is happening, your operational team members are operating at optimal performance 24/7 because the system and the database that they're using to power those important guest-facing interactions, such as check-in and checkout, will never be used to perform expensive year-long reporting calculations. Challenge number two is, how do we empower corporate enterprise teams with the tools they need to connect powerful analytical tools and build custom reports, while still empowering hotel teams with easy-to-use custom reports that don't require any technical or corporate expertise? The dedicated reporting environment that we can provide can be connected to a myriad of reporting tools, from Agilysys' own analytics solution to Microsoft Power BI, Excel, and other partners, to a custom enterprise database of your choice, even if it's proprietary. You will have access to a myriad of connectivity options to power analytics of your data at any time using any method. And at the same time, we've expanded the toolset available in our own applications to empower operational team members without any technical expertise with the ability to customize and save their own reports with an easy-to-use click and drag type user interface that doesn't require that IT expertise, significantly lessening the load on enterprise teams to deliver reports tailored to specific properties. Naturally, this is all subject to the permissions that you grant to your users at the individual properties. I'll be showing a demo of some of this in a little bit. We won't have time to cover the entire suite of hospitality solutions here at Agilysys today, so we'll cover a subset. I'm going to start with Agilysys Stay. Agilysys Stay is a fully cloud-native, enterprise-grade property management system solution that manages all aspects of your hospitality operations, from the front desk to housekeeping to accounts receivable. The modern technology stack delivers powerful performance across your enterprise, whether it's an independent hotel, an emerging regional brand, or nationwide and international chains. And it combines an easy-to-use interface with an extremely rich feature set to lower those training costs while empowering your teams with the tools they need to deliver powerful guest service. The key strength of Agilysys Stay that we're going to focus on today is multi-property and enterprise toolset, including the ability to natively integrate into enterprise tools for rate management, eliminating the need for data synchronization, centrally or regionally manage accounts receivable, and deliver performant and powerful enterprise multi-property reporting. We'll also showcase our data privacy tools and centralized security management, including the upcoming introduction of SSO using Active Directory or other Xamarin providers. Our InfoGenesis solution is a global leader in point-of-sale systems and is deployed globally across major international chains. With the recent introduction of IG12 UX, the solution has been completely modernized to support a platform-agnostic architecture that scales across your devices, significantly expanding your enterprise choices when it comes to hardware footprint, cost, and user experience. Its omni-channel approach to guest connectivity includes options for guest self-service, Guests can place an order using a dedicated kiosk through Our Guest Buy, place their orders remotely on their phone or tablet using IG On Demand, or settle their checks directly on their mobile devices using Agilysys QuickPay. InfoGenesis also scales its footprints based on the needs of your enterprise with both cloud and on-premise deployment options available. And these can be mixed and matched within a single enterprise with multiple versions of the same product coexisting to allow you to stagger your rollouts. As with all Agilysys products, a powerful suite of open APIs is available to simplify integration with Agilysys, third-party, and your own custom enterprise solutions. And both of these products and our enterprise products in general are built to scale alongside your entire hospitality suite of solutions. Tools are available to centrally manage deployments, security, and configuration, and bifurcate your regions into custom categories or contexts. Your security can be managed centrally, with roles and permissions being distributed at the global, regional, or site level. As a global solutions provider, our products are fully capable to scale with regional requirements. Localization options for currency and language are available at the site or regional level, alongside dedicated architecture built to rapidly adapt to changing fiscal requirements. Agilysys Analyze is a powerful cross-product business intelligence and analytics tool designed for both on-premise and cloud deployments that allows you to centralize data from across the Agilysys suite of solutions and all the properties within your enterprise. It is also extensible to your partners. Its features include custom report and dashboard creation, allowing you to create a holistic view of spending patterns and revenue across your entire enterprise, and split these between regions, brands, revenue centers, and additional dimensions tailored to the unique aspects of your operations. By unifying this data under a common platform, Agilysys Analyze allows you to gather rich insight into overall trends and performance across your enterprise, but also insight into the behaviors and patterns of your guests at an individual level, by demographic, by region, or any other criteria such as market segment, booking source, and more. That rich insight allows you to better drive strategic, operational, and marketing decisions and set clear performance targets for your individual hotels or regional offices. That's a high-level summary of our enterprise overview. And the next, that brings us into the demo portion of our presentation. And we're actually going to start today by looking at Agilysys Stay. Agilysys Stay is our enterprise-grade cross-property management system, property management system that scales for, again, independent hotels, regional brands, and international chains. Here I am at the login page for Agilysys Stay, and I'm going to go ahead and sign in. When I sign in, based on my individual user permissions, if me as a user, I have access to more than one property, I'm going to see that list of properties available to me. This is managed by you at a central level, can be managed by you at a central level, and me as a user, I could have different permissions for each property. So I could be a front desk agent at the conference center, but I could just make reservations at the resort and casino, for example. I'm an administrator here for all my properties for our purposes of our demo today, and I'm going to log into the hotel and conference center and take a look here at the landing page. So here we're loading all of our arrivals, all of our departures, a very rich dashboard that shows you all the information about the reservations that are occurring or taking place on the current business date. Now, the first thing I want to highlight here from an enterprise level is the powerful search capabilities. Agilysys Stay has a universal search toolbar that allows you to search across properties within a single search box and allow you to search without necessarily specifying individual field names. So I see I have Miss Abernathy here. I can just type in Abernathy, and that will find me all reservations with that name. You don't have to specify which criteria you're searching for. We can actually filter down and just find reservations based on free text search across this individual property. Now, let's take an example of a guest who arrives with, let's say, a potentially difficult name. I arrive at the front desk and I'm checking in. My name is Jonathan Papadopoulos. The agent didn't quite catch that, but they didn't understand that the guest's first name begins with Papa. Sorry, their last name begins with Papa. So they do a search and they can't find it. But they also know that a lot of guests are arriving at the hotel and conference center when they're actually looking for the resort and casino, which is just down the road, a couple of blocks down. So they can actually open this up and I can expand my search across multiple properties that I have access to and press done. And what that will do now is that will search across multiple properties, again, with a single search box and show me the results across those properties. And I can do that across any number of properties of my choice, across any date range of my choice. And the Elasticsearch that's powering this engine will do so in a performant fashion. when you see the reservation, you actually can open it up from here and it will switch the properties for you. You can do that in the same window, or I used it to open a new window over here so that can load separately, and you can continue working here if you wanted to have multiple windows open at the same time. The other feature here I have is I can change properties dynamically at the top of the screen over here. So I logged in. When I logged into the hotel and conference center, and now you can see with my change property feature, I can switch that to the resort and casino dynamically, and it will simply reload. And then I can change this back to the hotel and conference center. It's very easy, very quick to change between properties.
Hey, Fizz, there's a question.
Sure.
So the question is, notice that you're utilizing a URL to go into stay. How do I prevent my staff from accessing stay when they're from their home?
So to prevent your staff, we actually have a feature called restricted login, which is an enterprise-grade feature as well. And we can use that to prevent guests from logging in from outside of your local network. So there's controls within stay, which we're going to see in the core configuration potentially a little bit later on, where you can flag a user as allowing or disallowing off-property access. So you can actually control who has access to, say, universally from home or from anywhere traveling around the globe, such as your management team members might need that access. And you can restrict operational team members who only really need access to stay when they're on site, to only do so when they're physically located on the property using this feature.
Thank you.
Great question. Thank you. Next, we're just going to search for myself here. And you see, as I enter my search criteria, it's searching across my reservations, my rooms, my profiles, my groups. And the first thing I'm going to pull up here, apologies, my internet is a little bit slow today, is my profile. So I'm going to pull up my guest profile. Now, as an enterprise-grade system, my profile is shared across multiple properties, or can be shared across multiple properties. In terms of information, I have my usual suspects in terms of name, last name, and so forth. Birthdays are very common, company names. But a couple of things to highlight for our international attendees is that you can also add useful fields like pronunciation. If you cater to a lot of international clientele, these are useful little fields that allow you to better pronounce guest names, and our language over here. The language is not just informational, it is actually has operational use. So if my preferred language was French, for example, we can send correspondence to the guests, such as confirmation letters and other things powered by Agilysys digital marketing, like pre-arrival notices, surveys. We can customize that based on the language that we distribute. That's the language field. And you can also use that to power with your on-premise integration, such as your TV systems, your telephone systems. If they support this feature, we can communicate them to language so that the TV can turn on in French, the voicemail can turn on in French, and so forth. In this case, I speak English, so I'm going to keep it as English. Now, if I scroll down a little bit, you'll see this guest stay history. The guest stay history is an aggregate of information, again, across your enterprise. So I can see over here, I last stayed one night, but I've spent 119 total nights across my portfolio of hotels, about 5-6 properties altogether here. And so I'm a pretty loyal guest, and I spent about just a little bit over $37,000 with an average rate of close to 200. There's also a reliability score here. So I can see I've stayed 71 times in the past. I've canceled 7 times. I've no-showed 23 times, which is a bit concerning, but not reflective of my true self. So I just want to let you know that. But that gives you an indicator of the reliability score. So you can understand that if a guest makes a future reservation, how likely they are to cancel or no-show. So then in high occupancy scenarios, you can make a determination as to which guests are more likely to need to be canceled in that scenario or walked. And on that, you can actually see a history of current reservations, which are on site or over the current date range. I can see my future reservations. And again, I can see my past reservations. And as always, you can click these and it will open up that reservation. You can do so under the same tab or a new tab. Now I have some security when I open a new tab that has to go through to validate that it passes our security rules. So I'll let that go. I'll continue down here and show you loyalty. So with loyalty, we can connect one or more loyalty programs depending on your loyalty providers. So here I have Alpha Rewards. I'm not connected to a loyalty system, but if you are powering a loyalty system using Agilysys Engage to power your promotions and loyalty programs or any proprietary system, we can do a real-time pull here and your agents can see the balance of the points for this guest in real time on their program, and they can add multiple. We can also integrate with enrollments. So we have this integrated in a production environment today with an enterprise customer, where when you click enroll, we build this custom form. You can enter guest details, and guests can enroll as part of their interactions with the front desk directly in the program. We will reach out, process the enrollment with their APIs and bring that in, and the guest will see, the agent will see that information right here, incentivizing the guest for an easy sign-on process there. And we can add multiple loyalty programs with your chosen partners. These are just some examples. We can add any number of partners based on your needs. And you can specify your default as to where the guest would prefer their points to be earned, or earn multiple points in different places, depending on the nature of your specific program. Next piece to highlight here, I'm going to scroll down just a wee way here. So standard address, phone numbers, email addresses, you update in one, it's visible in the others, and payments. We have a wide range of partner programs with our payment providers. We support anywhere from Shift4 to Freedom Pay to Adyen over in APAC and EMEA, 3C, global international payments provider. And provided you have a global token store, you can share credit card numbers across hotels as well. So we can reuse a credit card across multiple properties if that's the desired setup for your enterprise. We can also securely store identification information, so you can add multiple forms of ID here. And if you have permission, this is a security controlled additional encryption layer. You can choose to expose and view that information, again, subject to your permissions. History of comments can be shared across multiple properties, so you have an accurate history of the guest experience. Comments is one way to do that, where guests can, or sorry, your agents can type in details about the guest experiences and their preferences, such as feather pillow preferences. And we also have a dedicated preference section, which again can be shared enterprise-wide. Features such as room feature sharing. So if I have a preference for hotel rooms near the elevator, I can share that across my property. Or I can actually choose to have specific room number preferences. And naturally, this is a property specific preference because I may prefer room number 105 at the hotel and conference center, but prefer room number 206 at the resort and casino. So you have a mix between enterprise type preferences, property type preferences, and those extend into generic guest preferences. And this is completely configurable in terms of categorization and values across your enterprise. So everything you see here, and I can just add more permissions, is completely customizable to the needs of your enterprise. We have different preference types. You can use radio buttons, multi-select, and you can really build out this custom preference profile. And subject to permission, you can create new preferences on the fly as well. This is incredibly important as part of our engaged guest profile roadmap, as we will be using these preferences to further drive personalized offers to you through a myriad of channels, an omni-channel approach through our Guest Book online booking engine, and through our Agilysys Engage promotions engine and Agilysys digital marketing for our marketing communication. The more preferences that you can capture, either implicitly by the guest stating them or explicitly by our tools calculating them for you, the better you can power personalized offers. And that will be all part of our engaged guest roadmap this year. We have a history of guest requests and again, guest satisfaction. We can actually log specific compliments or complaints that the guest has made in the past for visibility across your enterprise as well. Consent management is part of our suite of data privacy tools, which I'm going to cover in a little bit, so I'll just skip it for now. If you remember, I'd opened another reservation earlier. So here, I'd open a different reservation. I'm just going to point out one thing, which is the itinerary. So I know based on this flag that the guest has booked an itinerary. And this itinerary is being pulled from multiple sources. So I know that in addition to the guest hotel room, they've booked a golf tee time. They've booked a foot massage at the spa. And that can all be pulled into a single view, and the agent alerted that the guest has an itinerary based on their activities that are taking place in Agilysys Spa, Agilysys Golf, Agilysys Seat for Dining, and other suites of tools throughout our next generation hospitality solution. That I'm going to go back to the homepage. I'm going to show you another key aspect of our enterprise tool set, and that is actually booking. So I'm going to switch to the resort and casino because I'm going to make a booking for a member that is part of the casino loyalty program. So I'm going to book a reservation here, and I'm going to search for my good colleague, Julie Watts, who I know is a member of the loyalty program for the resort and casino. And I'm going to go ahead and select her profile, and let's go ahead and search. She wants to stay on September 1st, let's do for 3 nights or so. Now, Julie is a loyal guest of the casino, but she's also a fan of the hotel and conference center. So she's asking, what are the rates and availability across both properties? With Agilysys Stay, you can perform that search across both properties. You see I've selected 2 properties here, and I can show check rates. And what it will do is it will scan any properties that you've selected for availability. Now here, what I can also drive is the Dynamics rates engine. So with rates, what we can power for you is if you have a centralized rates promotion tool, we can pull rates dynamically from your centralized rates engine, whether that's a CRS or a proprietary engine, and bring that back into the property management system and display that dynamically here. So you have all your rates configured in a central source without ever needing to synchronize rates between the property management system and your enterprise tool set. I am going to do a search again. I just want to see if my property enterprise offer system is connected here. Just give me a moment. Okay, so I had a little glitch in my connectivity with a loyalty system, but I've got that repaired now. So what we're doing, and you can see here, is we're doing a real-time search of the loyalty system for Julie because I've entered her player ID over here. So if the loyalty system responds, in this case, I'm connected to a gaming system, but it can be any loyalty system. If it responds, we can actually show offers that Julie is eligible for based on the criteria that I've entered. So here, I can see if I select my king room and I expand my offers, it's telling me that the loyalty system has informed me that Julie specifically, based on her member number, is eligible for a complimentary night over this date range. Now, she could be eligible for it because she's booking a daily rate, but Stay has controls in it to allow you to control whether there's any conditionals there. So for example, Julie may be eligible for a complimentary night if she books a standard rate, but if I book my staycation package, which is already incentivized with discounts, that complimentary night may not be available. So this is seamless to the user. As far as your users can tell, this is all looks naturally as part of Agilysys Stay. We go to great lengths to ensure things flow through seamlessly, so you don't have to train your users on multiple systems. So in this case, you don't have to go to another system to check if Julie is eligible for this offer. It's just naturally integrating when you're doing your shopping. You don't have to do another button. You don't have to click check. You don't have to go validate anything. It will just naturally flow into the natural booking cycle, and the validations will guide the user as to what is or is not permissible based on the parameters of your loyalty program. So in this case, I know that Julie is eligible for a complimentary night. I select that complimentary night, and you'll see it'll decremented by the value of this particular promotion. And since it's only one complimentary night and not multiple, it's not going to allow me to select more than one. We can enforce those rules so your users can basically be guided into what's permissible or not permissible based on the aspects of your enterprise loyalty program and offers that you'd like to provide. I have a complimentary night as an offer. We can integrate with a wide variety of offers. It's really dictated based on the needs of your program. We can override and apply them. So you can come up with all kinds of scenarios. You can get food and beverage credits, complimentary nights, and many more types of scenarios. Now, I'm not going to complete the booking because I do see my clock is running out. So what I'm going to do now is just jump into reporting for a minute. And actually, I'm going to do that. I'm going to switch property from my conference center. And I'm going to show you some multi-property reporting just very briefly. So here I have the on the books report, which I'm going to pull up. I'm going to pull up a report that's going across multiple properties. I have this I think it's about 2 weeks forecast for 2 properties, the hotel and conference center and the resort and casino. And as you can see here, it pulled up both properties in the same report in a very fast pace. You just click here, and in a couple of seconds, it will pull from that dynamic reporting database, a separate dedicated reporting database, the information that's displayed over here. This is our user experience for your operational team members, but that same data, everything that's powering what you're seeing here at a cross-property level is available for you in a dedicated reporting warehouse that can be connected to business intelligence tools, again, including our own Agilysys Analyze solution, which spans connectivity across the Agilysys Next-Gen suite of hospitality solutions, alongside any other tool of your choice, such as Microsoft Power BI, Excel, or your own custom tools. But from the end user perspective, let's say the front desk management team or the revenue management team on site, they can certainly use this UI and they can basically customize these reports and tailor them to the unique needs of each user. So when I click my configuration button over here, I can choose which columns I want to display. So for example, if I'm not a group heavy hotel, I'm not interested in group information, I can hide group information. If I'm running this as a revenue manager and I'm more interested in my RevPAR and my ADR over my arrivals and departures, I can dynamically change with click and drag the order of the columns that are displayed. And if I'm not interested in particular information, I can choose to hide it. So if I'm not interested in seeing the adult and child count as a revenue manager at this point, or seeing things like off the market rooms, you can hide those from display. You don't have to display them. based on your use case. You just click and drag or just mark those checkboxes, click apply, and the report will update to remove and shift those columns in the exact order that you would like to see them. And you can save that as your custom report. So this same report can be run multitude of different ways. So the revenue manager may see different columns than the front desk team who's more focused on arrival and departure counts, or the housekeeping team. You can save this report as many different ways as you like, and it transforms it into many different functions or many different use cases based on who is actually using that report. And in addition to that, you can have this be auto-generated. With auto generation, I just click on my scheduler over here, and I can say as a revenue manager, I want to see the 2-weekly forecast, and I want to receive it every hour at 4 hours. That's a bit heavy for me. I can also use different schedules. I can do weekly schedules, for example. I can say, you know what, every week on a Monday morning when I get into the office, I'd like this report ready for me at any time of my choice, and I can save that, and it'll be auto-delivered to my inbox or multiple inboxes that I specify up here. And that completely automates the flow. You don't even have to go and run it. Same thing, you can do monthly, so you can schedule all your month-end reports to dynamically generate at the same time as well. Now I run my 2 weeks report. You can definitely run for longer than that, so we can run for the entire month. And again, you'll see that it will run in a very performant fashion. So it'll generate all the data and just display it to you here. And reporting also supports for our international colleagues multi-currency. So if I had more than one property and each one had its own currency, they would display in the currency of that particular property. And later this year, adding a roll-up view so you can dynamically switch and roll things up into a single currency as well. That's a quick snapshot of just the front-end reporting tools. The next thing I'll probably do is I'll go into accounts receivable, another unique multi-property enterprise aspect of Stay. So here I'm going to our accounting module, and this is our aging dashboard. So here you can see a list of all the company accounts throughout the application, as well as the individual accounts receivable for each property. You can see that at an enterprise level. So I know that for the Alpha Hotels and Resorts, that the Agilysys account is generating a total of $466,000 in terms of revenue across my portfolio of hotels over here. And then I can see a breakdown by individual hotel as well. You can also generate statements at a multi-property level. So you can batch generate statements and have them go out from the individual properties, but do that centrally from your regional offices, or you can create a single enterprise-wide statement called a tenant and send out one statement across multiple properties to the Agilysys Corporation. Same thing with invoices. You can create invoices in batch for multiple properties in a centralized fashion, and you can do so by source account or consolidate multiple transfers into AR into one consolidated invoice.
Hey, Fizz, there is a question from the audience.
Sure.
How do you access reports from past hotel audits in Stay?
How do you access reports from past hotel audits? Reports in Stay can be dynamically generated for history as well. So there's a couple of methods you can do this. One is you can have those reports automatically scheduled to your inbox, and you can have them route and archive them in any fashion that you please. And those will just always be there historically, and they will show as they did at the time that they were generated. Another fashion you can do that is remember that some property management systems, not others, but definitely in Stay, you can go back and generate reports in history, and it will show you the data as it existed at that time. So if your ledgers existed at a certain balance in the past, you can run a report for the past, and you can see the balance as it existed in the past. It is always reflective accurately based on the date ranges that you enter into the report, so you can go back in time and regenerate those reports if you don't have them in your archive. So next, I'll just continue quickly into the remit2 here. So you can add multiple remit2 addresses. If you have multiple regional offices and you do your billing centrally, you can specify, say if you have an East Coast office, West Coast office, Singapore office, international office, you can generate multiple remit2 addresses. And when you're generating your invoices and statements, you can specify where you would like that particular account to remit that particular statement's payment to as part of the remit2 feature. And here, when I'm opening my corporations, again, anytime I open a new tab in my laptop, there's some security checks that need to happen. So it's going to go ahead and do that. But as I open my accounts receivable, it's going to head and open the account. And there's 2 levels of access that you're going to have here. You're going to have the ability to manage the accounts at the property level, and then you can batch update settings for multiple properties. So here it is at the account sales, and you can see, so pretty advanced tools in terms of accounts receivable. Non-invoice charges give you a preview of the charges that are about to enter into AR. So you have the opportunity before they formally enter into your aging cycle to preview charges into this account as an accounting team and approve them and create the invoices to move them into the AR as a additional check before they go into the formal aging. And you also are able to apply payments without specifically applying them to invoices, so you can apply them at a later date. At a batch settings, you can update the current credit limits, contact information, and which rate plans that they're eligible for. As you can see, I'm getting a internet unstable warning there, so I do apologize for that. Now I will continue into just another quick feature of the toolset. I'm a little bit conscious that I have about 5 minutes left, so I'll go into a couple of things quickly here. One is data retention and management. So we talked about data and consent policies, and here is where I'm showing you just how you configure that. Data retention policies, here I have an example of a GDPR policy, which I've created, and you can see that for my data retention policies, I can specify at an individual field level how long that information should be contained within stay, and at the expiry date here after the last period of stay, the data will automatically be anonymized based on the policy that you've configured here. In this case, my GDPR policy, which applies to EU citizens. You can set up multiple policies. So I have a CCPA example, not fully reflective of the current law, but you can see the CCPA, my example, being a little bit more permissive. But in addition to these default policies, consent, I'm going to use an example is by virtue of signing up to your loyalty program, a guest may be provide the option or giving you the consent to hold their data for an extended period of time. Again, at an individual field level, you can configure what that consent policy means based on your enterprise corporate standards, and that can be applied during the check-in process by virtue of the guest accepting into that enrollment or not accepting into that enrollment. And you'll see that that can also be applied at an individual property level, so they can consent to one property but not the other, retaining their data for that period of time. Now, the next thing I'm just going to quickly show you is actually how that applies. So I'm going to go back to my front desk over here. I'm going to search for, I believe I set up my example as my friend and colleague, Darren, here. So I'm going to open Darren. And my, and here when I check in the guest, I'm going to go through a quick check-in. I'm going to do my registration card here. And this is my online registration. You can turn this on or off. It's a digital registration that's automatically captured onto the reservation. And then once I check in, I can authorize my credit card that, again, if you're using a global token store, can be reused across multiple properties. I'm using a demo token store here today. Maybe that my payment processor is not connected today. My demo token store is not created today. But as virtue of this check-in process, we'll see that once that card capture is completed, if it proceeds successfully, we'll get the ability to capture the guest consent. So if they've opted into your loyalty program, you'll have an option to check the guest consent for the loyalty program. If they have not, then you can choose to forego that consent. And that policy will be visible directly on the guest profile, so it can be captured for future use directly on Darren's profile in this case. And so here we'll see the consent policies. We kind of skipped over a little bit earlier. So you can see they haven't opted into anything just yet, but as part of the check-in, if my credit cards were connected, I could have collected this, and I'm just going to say, I'm providing explicit consent as part of my loyalty registration, see my information, save, and now Darren has provided his consent, and you can come in and renew that. That will auto-renew as you go check in the future if you want to extend those timelines based on the last activity date, and it'll track the consent date for you as well. Now, finally, in the interest of quick time here, I'm going to show you the enterprise core configuration here. This is a centralized tool that allows you to manage security and on-premise devices for your property. Sure, enter my credentials details there. This is our guest core. So this is where you can see across your brand and portfolios the various connectivity status of the Agilysys cloud system with your on-premise interfaces and manage your security. And you can organize your properties into context. So here I have my properties organized into Asia Pacific, into the Caribbean, into EMEA, and you can divide your properties into these contexts and apply security permissions and roles at this level as well. And from the security aspect, you can see we can manage security users centrally over here. I'm going to pull up my user. And in here, a couple of security features at an enterprise level. The login is restricted feature. That's what I believe Thor was asking earlier. There was a question from the audience. How do I prevent my users from offsite from being able to log in to the property? That's this feature right here. As long as you toggle this option and we have it configured for you, this particular user cannot log in from offsite. You can also add additional security tools like two-factor authentication, always require two-factor authentication on every login, or use a less restrictive method. That is an optional tool for you as well. And this feature will also be integrated directly into Active Directory here later this year. So you can do single sign-on using Active Directory or other XAML providers as well. That is a quick snapshot of security. I'm going to give you one quick overview of Agilysys Analyze. So I'm going to jump back over here and I am going to go ahead and open our Agilysys Analyze solution. Agilysys Analyze is our centralized reporting and analytics tool. It works across the Agilysys suite of hospitality solutions, and it can aggregate data from across those solutions to provide powerful analytics at multiple dimensional levels for your operations. And here I'm going to pull up one first example is the guest visibility. So with this dashboard, what I'm doing is I'm seeing an individual guest value breakdown of my highest value guest down to the lowest value guest. And this information is pulling information from the engaged guest profile to figure out how much Evan, in this case, has spent across my portfolio of properties, irrespective of which outlet they visited. So for example, if Evan checked in using the property management system and provided their MasterCard, we recognize and we store an identifier for that MasterCard. And as part of the property management system, we'll begin accumulating spend. All their room nights will be aggregated as part of their profile. At the same time, if Evan goes to the restaurant and purchases a burger using his credit card, doesn't mention anything to the server about staying in a hotel, but by virtue of using that card, we can recognize that that's part of Evan's spend and bring that together into a holistic view of exactly the activities that Evan participated in the resort and his overall preferences and value to the hotel. So we know Evan in this case has an affinity for champagne and an affinity for the Limelight Lounge as an example. Now, this is an interactive dashboard. So you can see here, we built this dashboard based on a demo example, but the data that powered it can be used to build your own custom dashboard. So you can build your own analytics, your own graphs, your own tables. You can create dynamic grids, cubes, all based on this information to slice and dice your data based on a myriad of factors. We're looking guest by guest here, but you can bring this up into market segment level data, source code level data. How much are guests spending that book directly with web? What are their preferences tending to be versus guests that book through Hotwire? And how can you use that information to power additional analytics and service options for your hotel? And there's quite a few other dashboards that I can show you here. Again, all created for purposes of our demo here, but you can definitely create your own dashboards based on your own operational needs. So we have heat maps, geo maps, and various graphical tools that can be displayed alongside more traditional analytics tool type reporting. So I'm just going to open one more example here, which is our hotel revenue report. This is an example of a report in progress where I can see just a normal chart. I can have all the metrics that are being pulled from the database over here, and I can dynamically modify what I'm seeing on the report using just a click and drag type of user interface. So for example, if I wanted to compare occupancy against my RevPAR in terms of my line graphs, I can definitely do that and just click and drag and view that. And you can add various visuals to your report yourselves, and you can view that information in a bar chart type format as well. So you can create, again, your own dashboards that consolidate information from across your enterprise, multiple properties, multiple outlets, using the tools provided for you in Agilysys Analyze. And with that, I am conscious I went a little bit over time. I do apologize. So I'm going to transition and thank you for your attendance today and your attention, and see if there is any opportunity for Q&A before I hand that back to Thor Hansen. Over to you, Thor.
No, Fizz, I think we've all the questions have been answered. Thanks for that fabulous presentation. So this concludes not only this presentation for enterprise management and companies, But this also concludes the Agilysys Next Generation Hospitality event. We thank you all for joining this. And I want to reiterate that should you have any questions in regards that weren't answered, we'll make sure that we answer those. But also, more importantly, should you want to review any of the content that we had in any of the sessions in the past, we'll have those available to you on demand through August. Thank you all and have a great day. Bye now.